Hi, my name is Miranda Mercuri. Philip Lai asked me to do a small video on mental health, and I'm going to take approximately 10 minutes of your time. So first, I'd like to welcome you to Master Philip Lai's Qigong class, Addressing Mental Health. Before we get started, I would like to first mention that I am not a mental health professional, and any decision you take should be made with the professional whose care you're under. I made this disclaimer because in this short video, I want to talk to you about mental health today. With the current state of affairs, we are facing a rising number of individuals who are feeling the emotional impact of this global pandemic. From essential workers going into work every day, living in fear of contracting COVID, our aging parents in nursing homes, experiencing extreme isolation from lack of visits from family and friends, caregivers who are watching from the outside, concerned about the safety protocols within these establishments, the shortage of PPEs, and the level of care they may or may not be receiving. Our medical professionals who are experiencing the stresses of choosing career over family in fear of bringing home COVID. Business owners who are taking a hard financial hit to their bottom line, creating massive unemployment rates around the world. Is it of any wonder that mental health issues are on the rise today? If you get anything out of this video today, I would like you to know it's okay to not be okay. Our society has trained us into thinking that when we feel there is something amiss, where we feel things are just not okay, that we must go to the doctors for prescription medication to help us cope. That's okay. I'm not knocking this. I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad thing. Some mental health issues require it. What I am implying, however, is that there are other things you can do in addition to help you feel your best. You see, no one taught us how emotions are part of our genetic makeup. And instead of normalizing our feelings and emotions, society has in many ways told us that somehow these feelings and thoughts were wrong or abnormal, and that somehow we were not okay. In these instances, we suppress them into our bodies, and when repressed and suppressed long enough, our bodies break down. By normalizing these feelings, we can first start by naming them. And by naming them, we can work through some of these feelings, get to the emotion, and deal with the root causes. One of the root causes is not giving ourselves permission to feel what we feel. To explain this, I want to tell you a little story. In 2008, I suffered a ruptured aneurysm, which is a bleed to my brain. It occurred in the frontal lobes, the part of the brain that controls the executive functions, such as planning and organizing, short-term, long-term memory, visual memory, where recognizing people's faces was a challenge, working memory, where a return to work had been unsuccessful because I couldn't remember how to perform in my role. And the worst part is what they call emotional lability. This refers to rapid, often exaggerated changes of mood, where strong emotions and feelings like laughing and or crying can occur, and sometimes difficult to control. Potential triggers of that may be excessive tiredness, stress or anxiety, too much noise, and being in large crowds. I want to explain how this diagnosis came about. So instead of learning that it was okay to not feel okay, when I was not able to remember things, people, places, or events, read or write, pay bills, go to work, drive my car, I was simply told I was suffering from depression. You see, it is assumed that post-stroke depression will occur, thus placing someone with a stroke or a head injury on antidepressants sooner rather than later is a given. The reason they know that post-stroke depression is a relatively high-risk condition that develops within the first several years following a stroke is because there really is no coping mechanism in place that allows stroke survivors the opportunity to grow into their new normal, to relearn, adapt, and adjust, and to re-educate the mind and body. So it makes sense that they would say to someone like me that I would never be competitively employed again, too incompetent to volunteer. So be depressed about it. It's okay. Here's your medication. Join a support group. I felt completely on my own. You see, depression occurs when there is a sustained hardship that exceeds the ability to cope because of a lack of ideas or strategies that are within our reach. I'm going to repeat that. Depression occurs when there is a sustained hardship that exceeds the ability to cope because of a lack of ideas or strategies that are within our reach. On a daily basis, I was reminded of my injury when I walked several kilometers per day to get groceries because I couldn't figure out things like how to take the bus, count my change, read the bus number, and know which one to get on. It was a daily struggle. As a former educator of children with learning deficits, I knew that Brain Gym helped children with retention, behavior, comprehension, organization, executive functions, and communication. It involves exercises that crosses the meridian of the body using the left side and the right side of the body to access different parts of the brain. So when I was able to use a computer again, I had Googled physical activities for adults that would do a similar thing. And this is where I landed on Master Philip Lai's information on Qigong. I printed the information and put it into my drawer. It went in the drawer because my challenge at the time was knowing what to say without telling anyone how much trouble I was really experiencing. I never felt more beaten in my life. And when I got tired of feeling beaten and realized I had nothing else more to lose at this point but my own life, what's it going to be? I emailed Philip and asked if Qigong would help me with anger, fear, and sorrow. He replied almost immediately and offered me to join a free class. It was a bit of a struggle for me to get there, but somehow I managed. With Philip, I learned that asking for help was okay. I learned that releasing these extra overbearing feelings I had were okay. And practicing Qigong daily helped me to normalize these feelings. You see, Qigong exercise is similar to Brain Gym with a lot of exercises that crosses the meridians using both sides of the body. That helped me with memory, retention, energy, managing my feelings and emotions. Today, I am a productive member of society. I work full-time, run a business. I went back to school and earned my certification as a life coach. These are huge accomplishments for someone who is considered incompetent. So if you're feeling like the pandemic maybe has had a toll on you, or you're dealing with some emotional stresses, I invite you to pick up the phone and call Philip Lai and try out one of his classes. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. Thank you for listening.